Hello there. Today we are going to share some interesting facts about inflation. Before getting into it, please subscribe and hit the bell icon for future content. Let's review. First of all, what is inflation? Inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and subsequently, the purchasing power of currency is falling. Central banks use a measure called the Consumer Price Index, CPI, to track the rate of inflation in an economy. The CPI measures the average change over time in the prices paid by consumers for a basket of goods and services. When the CPI increases, it means that prices have gone up and the purchasing power of currency has decreased. Inflation can be caused by a variety of factors, including increased demand for goods and services, increased production costs, and changes in monetary policy. It's important to note that mild inflation is considered to be healthy for an economy, as it can signal growth and expansion. However, when inflation is too high, it can have negative effects on the economy and on individuals' purchasing power. Let's talk about some types of inflation. There are several different types of inflation, each caused by different factors. They are demand pull inflation. This occurs when the demand for goods and services outpaces the available supply, causing prices to rise. Cost push inflation. This occurs when the costs of production, such as raw materials or wages, increase, causing businesses to raise prices to maintain their profit margins. Built-in inflation. This occurs when businesses and workers expect prices to rise in the future, so they build that expectation into their prices and wages today, creating a self-fulfilling cycle of inflation. Monetary inflation. This occurs when the money supply increases too rapidly, leading to too much money chasing too few goods, causing prices to rise. Structural inflation. This occurs when the economy experiences long-term changes, such as technology or globalization, that cause prices to rise over time. Hyperinflation. This type of inflation occurs when the rate of inflation is extremely high, leading to a rapid and uncontrollable increase in prices. It is generally caused by an increase in the money supply, but can be caused by other factors as well. It's worth noting that inflation can also be categorized as either creeping inflation, which is a slow and steady increase in prices, or galloping inflation, which is a rapid and uncontrollable increase in prices. Impacts on a poor man. Inflation can have a significant impact on poor people, as it can erode their purchasing power and make it more difficult for them to afford basic necessities. When prices for goods and services rise, it means that a poor person's money can buy less than it could before, making it harder for them to afford things like food, housing, and healthcare. This can be particularly challenging for poor people who live on a fixed income, such as those who are retired or on welfare, as their income does not increase with inflation. In addition, when inflation is high, it can also lead to increased interest rates, making it more difficult for poor people to access credit and loans to purchase essentials or start a small business. Furthermore, inflation can also impact the poor through unemployment, as high inflation can lead to a decrease in economic growth, resulting in job losses. This can be particularly problematic for low-skilled workers, as they may be the first to lose their jobs during an economic downturn. Overall, inflation can make it more difficult for poor people to afford basic necessities and can lead to increased poverty and economic insecurity. So why inflation is important for a country? Inflation is important for a country because it helps to keep the economy growing and healthy. When prices are rising, it means that businesses are making more money, which they can then use to invest in new projects, hire more workers, and expand their operations. This leads to more jobs and economic growth. In addition, inflation can also help to reduce the value of debt, making it easier for people and businesses to repay loans. It also helps the central bank to adjust monetary policy to control the money supply in the economy. However, if inflation gets too high, it can be harmful to the economy, as it can lead to decreased purchasing power and increased costs of goods and services. That's enough for this video. We will see you soon. Take care.